Hello again. There are in this country many religions other than the traditional one of Christianity, of course. There are Hindus and Sikhs, Jews and Jains, Buddhists, Muslims, Mormons, Baha'is, and at least a dozen other faiths. Speaking for myself, I respect them all and I see them all as attempts in different ways to communicate with the one true God. There is a slight problem, though, with one of these religions, and that is that, unlike all the others, it is constantly drawing attention to itself and pressing itself upon us. There has always been in this country a feeling that this is not quite the thing with religion. Most people are irritated to find Jehovah's Witnesses on their doorstep asking if they want a copy of the Watchtower. We feel that there is something slightly off, quite English, about carrying on in this way and shoving your religion in other people's faces like that. The religion, of course, which is most often being shoved in our face in this obtrusive way these days is Islam. And just as with Jehovah's Witnesses, many people are getting a little ticked off about it. Most of us are happy for Jews to attend synagogue, Hindus to go to their temples, Sikhs to the Gurdwara and so on. It's no different when all is said and done to people attending church on Sunday morning. It's different with Islam because this particular faith is constantly being pushed upon us, even if we are people who have no special interest in any religion. People, for instance, who listen to the Archers on the wireless. I remember when it used to be on the home service and introduced as an everyday story of country folk. These days, of course, the BBC describes it as a contemporary drama in a rural setting. It, like so many other traditional parts of our life in England, is now being brought into service as a vehicle to promote Islam. A while ago, an Indian doctor moved to the village of Ambridge. He could have been a Hindu, of course, or a Sikh, or any other Baha'i, perhaps, but inevitably he was instead a Muslim. Now his religious practices are being made the subject of a storyline. The character who has been in the programme for 40 years, Linda Schnell, a devout Christian, has decided to fast at Ramadan, inspired by the Muslim's faith. I'm half expecting that she's going to convert to Islam. Nothing of this kind has, of course, ever been seen before in the Archers. I do not recollect Peggy Archer announcing that she was going to fast on Yom Kippur, and nor do I recall Walter Gabriel expressing interest in exploring the Baha'i faith. This is pure propaganda, and it is a deliberate effort to promote Islam over all other religions in this country. Another example of this trend was the football match earlier this month between Manchester United and the Woolwich Arsenal. The game was stopped at one point so that a Muslim player could break the fast which he was observing for Ramadan. Can anybody remember a big football match being interrupted in this way in the past to accommodate the religious practices of a player? Perhaps so that a Catholic could nip off and take Holy Communion? So that a Jewish player could stop and say a few prayers? No, neither can I. Even people in this country who are completely irreligious, fervent atheists, are now unable to avoid having Islam being brought to their attention, even when they're listening to the Archers or watching a game of football on the television. This is a rummy state of affairs and one about which I have serious reservations. I'm all for religious toleration, but also I'm opposed to seeing one religion promoted in this way over all others.